The XCode project file starts with several top-level keys that define the overall structure of the XCode project. The archive version indicates the version of the archive format, typically set to 1. The class's key is reserved by XCode and is usually left empty. The object version defines the internal object format version used by XCode, commonly 56 for recent versions like XCode 13 and above. The heart of the file is the Objects section, which contains a dictionary of all project entities such as files, groups, targets, and build settings. Finally, the root object key points to the UID of the main PBX project object, which ties the entire structure together. In an XCode project file, each object has a type known as ISA that defines its role in the project. pbxproj is the root object containing references to targets and the main file group. pbxgroup represents folders in the project navigator, while pbxfilereference points to actual files like Swift or Plist files. pbxbuildfile connects those files to build phases. Build phases are managed by objects like pbxsources build phase for source files, pbxresources build phase for assets, and pbxframeworks build phase for linked libraries. PBX native target defines app or framework targets, including their build phases and settings. Configuration is handled through PBX build configuration and XC build configuration, which store settings like info plist file and SDK root. Finally, XC configuration list groups multiple configurations such as debug and release. One of the biggest challenges iOS developers often face is resolving merge conflicts in the project file. These conflicts can be tricky primarily because many developers aren't familiar with the internal structure of the project file. Gaining a better understanding of how this file works can significantly simplify the conflict resolution process. Personally, I've found Visual Studio Code to be particularly helpful when resolving project file conflicts. Additionally, using a syntax highlighter tailored for project files makes it much easier to read and understand the changes. I've included a link in the comments to a tool I often use for this purpose. Please note that the tools mentioned are for educational use only. I'm not affiliated with them in any way. Full credit goes to their original creators.